Through the sweltering days of July and August, the Canadians pushed forward along dusty mountain roads dominated by towns and villages perched on lofty crags. At first all went well, and by 12 July the troops were 30 miles in a direct line from their point of landing and much farther over mountain roads. They had covered most of the distance on foot in a, quote, continuous cloud of fine white dust. Resistance now stiffened, and from 15 July the Canadians were engaged increasingly with German troops who fought stubborn delaying tactics from the towering villages and rocky hills. The first such action was fought at the town of Gran Michele. There were many others. The advance along two main axes to Regal Butto in the north and Catena Nuova farther south cleared the way to Adrano. Valguarnaga, where Panzer Grenadiers of the 15th Division were encountered, was taken only after a two-brigade Canadian attack and much confused and costly fighting. Nor was the capture of Leonforte or Asoro easy. Both towns stood on very high ground, and the attackers had to approach them across a river valley dominated by German guns. At Agira, progress could only be made behind a tremendous barrage which moved forward in successive 100-yard lifts. This method, so reminiscent of the First World War, brought speedy results and cleared the enemy off two features that guarded the town. Air attacks and bitter infantry fighting finally gave the Canadians possession of Agira. Catena Nuova fell on 30 July, while heavy fighting for Regal Butto still continued. Although the Royal Canadian Regiment penetrated the town on 31 July, the Germans resisted bitterly. Throughout 1 August, the battalion was in an unenviable situation, holding exposed positions swept by enemy fire from the ridge and scorched by the broiling heat of the Sicilian sun, the regiment's war diary records. But the Germans had had enough. An attack by fresh troops on 2 August found Regal Butto abandoned by the enemy. The campaign was nearly over. The Germans still held firm along the coast south of Catania, but were now confined to the northeastern corner of Sicily. The Americans had come up on the Canadian left, and both armies would soon press forward towards Messina. The Canadian task was to break through the main enemy position and capture Adrano. This operation led the Canadians into mountainous and almost roadless country, utterly impassable for wheeled transport. Mortars, machine guns, ammunitions, and supplies had to be brought forward by mule trains, but the Canadians, fighting from rock to rock, cleared the Germans from successive positions. On 6 August, Le Royal 22e Régiment pushed on rapidly to forestall the 78th British Division, which was also racing to capture Adrano. To their disappointment, the French Canadians were ordered to hold back, but one of their patrols reached the town before the order was received and found the place deserted. That day, the Canadian Division moved into reserve and ended its Sicilian operations. 11 days later, American soldiers entered Messina, where they met British troops coming from the south. Sicily had been conquered in 38 days. Throughout the campaign, one regiment of the Army Tank Brigade had fought with the 1st Division and had been of tremendous assistance. The division itself had marched 130 miles, farther than any other formation in the 8th Army, and during the final 2 weeks had borne a large share of the fighting on the Army front. Canadian casualties totaled 172 officers and 2,138 other ranks, of which 40 and 522 respectively were fatal. Because of their thorough training, the men had been able to acquit themselves like seasoned veterans. They now held themselves in readiness for the next great operation, the invasion of the Italian mainland.